Teaching a science class with nothing other than a really old blackboard, no materials for experiments, no test tubes, nothing. Well, that is how a bright young engineer, General Mills, spent her time this past March. She was a world away, however, in Ghana. And you know what? That's a good day for students because they actually had a teacher. Meet Katie Ohotto. She's our Fox 9 Volunteer of the Month for a very good reason. She joined us now to tell us about her experiences teaching kids about science and English when she recently visited Ghana. Now, let's start there. Not exactly the safest place in the world right now. They've got a civil war going on. Were you a little nervous? How was it breaking into your family that you were going to travel there?
Yeah, I was extremely nervous. And yeah, you hear about all the bad press, the AIDS, the stuff going on in Sudan, and they were anxious as well for me, but they were very supportive. And I've done other trips, and basically Global Volunteers won't put you in a place that isn't safe. So knowing that and knowing I would meet up with a team leader and other volunteers made me feel better.
My mother will be glad to hear you say that since I'm going to Costa Rica. All right, let's talk about the work that you did there. You were teaching students. Well, we can see some video here. This is of you. You had a blackboard. Describe the whole experience of teaching and you know, maybe some of the learning conditions. Yeah,
I had about 50 students in the classroom, and the blackboard was so dirty and old that the letters that I was writing could barely be distinguished from students even in the second row. And their goats would come into the classroom, and those walls were actually partitioned, so the English teacher next door and the ag teacher on the other side, you had to speak to overpower their voices so that the students could listen and understand.
Were they eager students?
I would say for the most part. Yeah. Some of them weren't, but there were some good students.
And you can see that they're happy kids. I mean, we've got video of them dancing. They look pretty happy, you know, despite maybe their situations. You said that sometimes kids can't come to school because they have to work or they have you know, maybe a parent dying of AIDS.
Yep, they were extremely happy, too, to see white people. I mean, you stood out there and you'd walk down the street. They'd run out of their classrooms and come up and hug you, want to hold your hand. Every day they would say, Madame, Madame, can I carry your books to school for you? So they would meet me at the hotel, walk me to school, and then walk me home every day.
You said it was a lot of emotional ups and downs with your visit there in Ghana and the volunteer work. Tell us about some of the highs and a few of the lows.
Yeah, Global Volunteers supports a malnourished baby clinic there, so to go there and see these really sick babies was very hard. But then to go to the preschool and see the kids singing the songs for us puts a whole new light on it, too.
And you had a chance to meet some of the people. For instance, we got some video of you walking around the town in Ghana. You see, you know, there's actually the exterior of the school. And you talked to people, and that was fairly comfortable for you?
Yes, everybody in the village was so welcoming to us, so welcoming. And they all wanted your address and your telephone number, and I've already gotten letters from them and emails from them, and so it's pretty neat.
Now, I just want a quick touch on, you also took, as you mentioned, several other trips, two to Poland, where you were teaching English. One was at an adult summer camp. Tell us about what what your experience was like there.
Yes, I taught adults in a summer camp. It was a full immersion program, so we were in this camp, and Poland's a little bit different. Their poverty isn't as great
Severe,
as Ghana, but the unemployment rate is up to 30%. So some of my students, you know, had been unemployed, and one was an orphan, and so it was just English to them is what will get you ahead there. So they were very glad to have native speakers that could help them.
Yeah, you had a sense of satisfaction. Well, Katie Ohotto, it sure is nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well-deserved Global Volunteer of the Month. And you've been doing this for a while, and you're so young.
I love it. I love it. I live for my trip every year, so I don't know where I'll go next year, but...
Well, you let us know. All right, and we want to mention, by the way, if you're interested in becoming a volunteer with Global Volunteers, here's their website, globalvolunteers.org. It's now 8:19. Let's go over to Keith Marlowe and see what the weather's like. Keith.